Thank you for joining us for the next session. I'm delighted to have Luca Scafati, Director of Business Operations at Euroleague Basketball, with us now. Same rules apply as the previous session. By all means, send in some questions through the Q&A. We will try and get through as many as we can, I promise. We do have sort of restrictions in terms of time and the sessions. However, if we don't get to your question, apologies for that, but you can always connect with the speaker through the platform that we have here as well. We'll crack on straight away, if that's okay, Luca, because Euroleague, despite the circumstances, has had a very busy year. Just for context, your two main tournaments were halted relatively early, weren't they? Sort of March the 12th, and then end of May, you took the very unfortunate, difficult decision to cancel the seasons, basically. Just to kick things off, obviously we've seen different approaches by different leagues. We saw what UEFA did with the Champions League, almost a bubble situation. When you look back at the early and decisive decision you took to cancel the season, and obviously the difficulties and financial issues that would bring, are you still confident you made the right decision in cancelling it rather than postponing it?
Hello, Rory, and thanks for having me at this conference. It's a great opportunity for me and the Euroleague to be showcased. Yeah, I mean, we still believe because the numbers say that we took the best decision. We all know that several other competition continue. Have created some bubbles, but we believe that when we stopped the competition on March 12th, the safety of the players, but not just the players, all the people involved in the environment will have to be taken in high consideration. And this is why we stopped the competition. We were one of the first leagues in Europe to do that. And even though for 2 months and a half we have planned any possible scenarios of continuing and finishing the season, we thought that we wanted to start again in October as a schedule, that was forecasted between the EuroLeague and its clubs, because we believe that we want to. Although the competition in 1920 was stopped, we wanted to have the possibility to have a competition as it was forecasted in 2020-21. So give the possibility to the players to rest, to all the people to plan ahead. Because of the financial losses they had in 1920, and to plan the best way for the 2021 to restart and not get in conflict with new events that up in the summer, like the Olympics or other national team competition will be in next year. So yes, 1920, the pity was there was a great season. We had records. We have 15% growth in audience, TV audience. We had 49% growth in social media engagement. We had, we were touching records on attendance. So talking about ticketing, we had 75% of occupancy and 8,670 attendees per game, which were projected to probably touch 9,000 until the end of the season. So it was a record-breaking season, but we wanted to plan and have another record this season. So this is why we stopped, and we're happy to have restarted in October.
Absolutely. Just to get into the details of it, I know it's difficult and it's obviously on a club-by-club, case-by-case basis. What has the financial impact been of the cancellation of the season for the league and the clubs, respectively?
So obviously, TV deals, sponsorship deals, and ticketing, all the three major revenue revenue items were hit by the pandemic, by the start of the competition. I think that the great news is that both television and sponsors, at least at the league level, but also at the club level, showed somehow commitment, because they believe in the product. They believe that we could, thanks to the records I've just listed right now, they expected this to be on the court again very soon with new records. So they show commitment. All the sponsors at the league level, they stayed with us, which is amazing. Obviously, both us and the clubs have renegotiated, open discussion, offer a different way of somehow giving the benefits that we couldn't give in 2019-20, but the response was amazing. And on the club side, obviously, probably the ticket sales was the major hit, and this is why we have started working with them starting in April. So right after the start of the competition, we started working with all clubs in order to find ways to alleviate those financial losses. And this is why we enter into discussion about how to reposition, how to work to better engage with funds even they're not in the arena. So digital transformation, pandemic response guidelines. We started working hard, I would say more than earlier.
Absolutely. It's given everyone a chance to take stock, really, hasn't it? And look at operationally where they can be doing better. It's one of the silver linings, one of the very few from COVID. Just in with regard, just to explain, you've had a number of quite significant off-court projects this year. You touched on it there, Digital Transformation Fund, which we'll hopefully get time to talk about later. The one that's obviously been the most pressing, given what's happened to your schedule this year, has been the protocol for COVID and the guidelines that you've distributed on a continent-wide basis to your clubs. Interestingly, as part of that, flexible ticketing payment terms, a more creative approach to ticketing, that was one of the key bullet points. Could you elaborate on that for us, please?
Absolutely. So when we developed, along with the clubs, a protocol that, I would say, more than a protocol, we developed guidelines, so a series of ideas, principles, priorities, because we don't have to forget that our clubs, are based in different European and non-European countries. This is what regulation are very different from country to country. So we wanted to kind of develop some guidelines that each club could take as a basis for them to, first of all, present to the public authority ways of showing that they're doing the right thing, so to welcome fans back, and also communicate with the fans. You have touched, one of the key points. We wanted to tackle two main issues: fear and money. Fear, so that means that we wanted to ensure that the arena, when we reopen, are ready and have all these standards in place in terms of hygiene, in terms of sanitization, in terms of all circulation, queuing management, and preventive measures, and anything that would ensure and would regain the trust of the fans when they come back to the arena. And the second key point is money. So everyone is being affected by this pandemic on a financial level, right? So we wanted to investigate what can be done for the fans in order to be able to keep them engaged and keep them, back at the arena when the situation allows for it. So we started to talk about credit, obviously, against future purchases of season tickets. We're talking about donation, but we're talking about also new models of buying ticket products. For example, subscription models, right? We all know now everything is a subscription. Netflix, Spotify, everything now is just a monthly fee, a monthly small fee, and if we want to get out, we can get out. If we want to stay, we keep on paying. So this one, for example, the thing that we we discussed with our club, and some clubs now are adapting, talking with the ticketing partners in order to include these new models of payment, to allow for the fans to go back.
Yeah, it's that sort of hybrid approach, I guess, retaining the opportunity to sell season tickets and game-by-game tickets, but also alongside the subscription model. I guess it's going to be very important for you going forward. A couple of questions,
and also, Rory. I mean, also because one of our short but also long-term objectives is to get on board the new generation, right? Gen Z. The new generation is not used to pay a big amount at the beginning of the season, a season fee, in order to get, because mainly these people will not come to all games. So the subscription model is perfect in order to have these new fans decide when to go, when not to go, and pay just when they use the product.
For the clubs that have brought on that subscription model, just referring to a question that's coming from Paul Byrne, what proportion of the overall customers, people through the gate, have been those that have taken up that model? And what proportion are season ticket holders still?
So proportion season ticket holders today at Euroleague level is about 50%. So 50% of the attendees of our games are season ticket holders. But we are, we're experiencing a kind of change in the trend. In the past was season tickets was the product. Now we have, we are, our clubs are starting to create different product that is customized on the fan, right? So the personalization or the hyper personalization, which concept that now are very trending topic, I would say, has become so important in the ticketing industry. So our clubs are starting right now to offer the subscription based. We don't have data yet, unfortunately. As we speak today, most of our games are still behind closed doors. So we say that the efficiency or mainly the effectiveness of this measure cannot be calculated yet. But I'm sure that in the future this will be key in order to get more people and more young people mainly at the beginning.
Yes. I think you're right. I mean, you're touching there on the Digital Transformation Fund, which has been a very significant off-court project for you this year, and it's sort of grown, hasn't it, out of an existing initiative that Euroleague Basketball has, the business operations knowledge sharing platform that you have there, and ticketing is obviously a very big part of that. Could you just explain to everyone how the Transformation Fund works exactly? As I understand it, clubs effectively pitch projects to you and then have the opportunity to be supported in driving them.
This is one of the projects I'm most proud of, I would say, because we have been able to allocate funding to projects, to specific projects that that had the objective to improve the digital infrastructure of the club. So thanks to good economic performance of the league in the last few years, we decided to allocate some money and give this money to the club, offer this money to the club only in the case they show us that they will invest this money for a digital transformation project. So improving the digital infrastructure processes. We all know the importance of data, of collecting data, of analyzing data and using data in order to monetize, to better communicate, to better engage with fans, right? So this started 2 years ago. We had taken this decision, and clubs, we have assessed with a third partner, we have assessed the digital readiness in each club, and then we have identified gaps in the digital readiness of each club, and we have proposed them to work in this direction. Then the clubs have based on this assessment, have decided to invest money in or certain aspect, and they come back to us, as you said, with a pitch, with a proposal that we have approved or not approved, or asked for more information in order to give them this money. We gave them the first 50% of the fund. Then when they reach some milestones that we jointly agreed in the development of this process, of this project, we would grant them the second part of the money. And this has worked fantastically. We have clubs developing new apps, developing new CRM systems, developing installing Wi-Fi in the arenas. We have club with new access control system at the arena. I mean, market researchers. We had club really using this money smartly, and this is just a first step. But I think that new initiatives of this kind will definitely help us getting better and better in the future, and more successfully on a financial side.
And the key thing that shouldn't be underplayed really is the central role you as an organisation are playing in this as well. It's not simply a case of clubs being funded on an individual basis. It's sprouted out of a knowledge sharing platform, and I think it's interesting. It touches on Ian's introduction really of the effectiveness of working together in times like this, and just referring to the expertise of your own organisation, but of course of some of the clubs as well, who are very big in their own right.
Well, I mean, the league, when we're talking about leagues, we're nothing but a service for our clubs, right? So we allow clubs to play. We allow the clubs to hopefully make business. We try to kind of set the basis for them to grow. So we created Box, the Business Operation Club Services Department, 3 years ago, inspired by the North American professional leagues. This is kind of unique in Europe. I don't think leagues in Europe has this sort of service. So this division has the objectives to share knowledge, to share best practices, but to give voice to the club, right? The clubs need to get together, need to share initiatives, and need some sort of leadership from the league in order to carry out initiatives for their own benefits. And this is why the Digital Transformation Fund, this is why the Pandemic Response Guidelines, this is why, Customer Experience Training Program. We did, we brought the clubs, thanks to this vision, we brought the chief business officer of the club to New York 3 years ago to visit and have meetings with the North American professional leagues and clubs and venues. So it's ongoing consultation, it's ongoing sharing of expertise, it's ongoing initiatives aimed at improving the business operation of the club. Ultimately, obviously increasing revenue generation from any business verticals, and we're very proud of this project.
Yes, and a question has come in that sort of touches on that. It's important not to look at this as a finite. This is a sort of finite strategy. It's an ongoing strategy to share knowledge, and it's important to have subscription compatible services that support this new relationship that clubs will have with fans that is more 24/7 with the subscription model as well.
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, this is the key. This is the key, and we have, what is changing. We have to adapt to the customer need. We have to adapt to a customer that is fully engaged, but we have to adapt to a customer that engage whenever he wants to engage. So it's not like in the past, like, okay, at this time we go live with this product and you have to be there to to enjoy this product. Today we live in a world in which funds or individuals decide when to consume a product, right? So this is 24/7 availability of contents, of engagement. This is key in order for us to succeed. The competition is huge. We're not competing against other sports platforms. We're competing against Netflix, and you watch Netflix when you decide to watch Netflix, not because I tell you that Netflix is, there's something on live now and you have to go there and watch it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the timing of the Digital Transformation Fund couldn't have been launched, couldn't have been better this year, really. One other major off-court project that you've had that we really should mention is the customer experience training program that's been rolled out again continent-wide. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And obviously, I'm sure it's been disrupted to an extent by the circumstances, but how has it gone?
Yeah, this is something that was developed last year. So before the pandemic, we carry out an assessment of our live events. So we travel to every arena, to every game day, and we identify gaps in the customer experience, right? So this is key. The customer experience, what an individual lives in the arena, is something that is key for them to return back to the arena the next day and to spend more money on going to the games, right? So identifying these gaps, we understood that there were some weaknesses, and we developed with a third party a new protocol for experiencing the event. What happened? COVID strike, and we needed to readapt this protocol, taking into account all the measures that have to be implemented in a post-COVID reality. So the pandemic response guideline that we have worked with the clubs and all the measures aimed at welcoming back fans are now in this protocol. And starting probably in December, we have the first training. We're going to train club staff, arena staff, in order to be ready once the doors are open, that the experience that our fans will leave will be the best.
Yeah,
the safe, possibly.
The customer experience training program has morphed into something much more challenging, of course, in the context of COVID, and that's something that I'm sure again shows the importance of being flexible in your approach. Questions come in from Miko Matida. Those club level digital projects are a good way forward, he says, on a sort of club by club basis. But beside those, are you developing any joint digital initiatives at a league level, just to avoid overlapping developments and sharing resources, increasing efficiencies, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So once we have finished the assessment of our club's digital readiness, we have taken this in-house at the league level, and we said, okay, now let's do a digital assessment of the league. And we did it. And we found compatibilities. We found and we developed a roadmap, which we're gonna last 3 years, starting right now as we speak, in order to develop, the digital transformation at the league level, which will definitely see an integration with all clubs project in order to create a digital product that is comprehensive of league and clubs. When we talk about clubs, we don't even see the distinction between league and clubs. League and clubs is the same thing, and obviously on the digital side, collection of data, monetization of data, we all are on the same level, and we'll have to join forces in order to come up with the best possible product and the way this product is consumed. So definitely, we will start very soon with new features, new web, new app at the league level, new data collection activities, and we hopefully in 3 years it will be completed and will be ahead of the curve.
Fantastic. Well, real pleasure to have you on today, Luca. Time has beaten us, unfortunately, again. However, I'll say it again, if you're an attendee, please do connect with Luca in the platform. But it's been great to hear about what Euroleague has done this year, and very best for the coming months. So with that, I'll say thanks again to Luca Scafati, and back to Mark.